I'm not going to even do it. I'm just, oh my God.
Yep. There we go, recording.
So Thursday really threw me off. So, okay, let's go. I just left the football field. You know, I'm a coach. I had to leave my son out there, and I'll be back as soon as we're done.
All right, I'll go ahead and start. I'm going to do Faith's review first, if that's fine. Under content, Faith, the task content is aligned with course content and appropriate external sources were used. Great justification as to why you chose each source. And each best practice aligns with Kelly Miller's most pressing need. Under the rubric strength, you provided sufficient references to support the text in the literature review, and your online sources demonstrated knowledge of best instructional practices associated with the identified needs. And I liked your visual representations. I think you did a good job. I mean, the whole thing was good, but rubric weaknesses, I said none were identified. Leadership, the candidate's leadership is demonstrated throughout the PLC meeting, and it was evident in the analysis of your research best practices that you led the group, because I think all of the best practices that you chose were, I mean, they fit so well with the need that you mentioned. And I believe that's it with the first four.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You guys want me to go ahead and read Matt's, or how do we want to do this? Who else has Faith's?
That's good. Go ahead and do all of your work.
All right. All right, under content, this is Matt's peer review. The task content is aligned with course content. Under rubric strength, the candidate met the minimum requirement of online tools and sources. Under rubric weaknesses, I put that your literature review lacked the sufficient references, and I put that because Dr. Lamb in the Zooms from last week, he said the literature review section should have a minimum of 3 sources. And then the candidate did not specify why the sources were chosen. That was also in the description of each of the tasks, that to tell why we chose the sources. Although there was proof in the visual representations, the candidate did not provide sufficient proof within the annotated bibliographies that the best practices are beneficial to biology EOCs. And that could just be me, but I felt like, I know you mentioned that it was literacy was kind of the focus. I just wanted to see more of how the literacy would be beneficial to biology. And then the last one, I put, you might want to review APA format for online sources. Under leadership, the candidate demonstrated leadership by meeting with the PLC, and I said you may want to provide details as to how you led the discussion about the best practices and include an agenda and minutes for the meeting that you had with your PLC, because obviously you had one. So any questions?
No, I want to establish the connection between biology and literacy as well, to see where it helps biology too. So
okay.
I don't have numbers for that. I still got to work on that, but thank you. Everything that I saw, and I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So while we're at it, I'll go ahead and do yours if you don't mind.
Okay, yep.
All right, so under content, you chose articles specific to addressing the need for differentiating instruction, particularly in math. Under the rubric strength, candidate created the annotated bibliography in the literature review, like you're supposed to. I thought I was going to add something else in there, but I guess I didn't. I would recommend you label the literature review section so it stands out from the text. I mean, just minor details. Candidate used graphic organizers to illustrate the relationship between the need and the outcome. So good job on your rubric strength there. Rubric weaknesses, I didn't see evidence that exceeds expectations to earn accomplished rating. I feel like that you did what you needed to do. And I'm still trying to figure out how to go about that myself to exceed. And then for leadership, obviously the candidate led the PLC in a discussion on evidence-based research and the online tools to support the PLC. And the rest of the stuff is there. APA, we're working on that. We're all working on that. Mechanics and everything was great.
Thank you.
All right, so anybody else?
I can go ahead and do Matt's, if that's okay. All right, I'll start with content. The content is aligned with the task. The literature review represents best practices, references, and online tools support your school's needs. Rubric strength, the candidate used figures to support best practices. Online tools and references are provided. Rubric weaknesses, the candidate may want to state how the research-based best practices will be beneficial to the needs of the school within the annotated bibliography, and also APA format of the annotated bibliography as well. And leadership, the candidate led the professional learning community in decision-making by providing online tools that would be beneficial to the school's needs. And were there any questions?
No, spot on. Spot on, appreciate it.
And I can also go ahead and do some Samanja's if that's okay. All right, for content, the content is fully developed within the literature review and throughout the annotated bibliography. The candidate utilized research to support best practices based upon needs that the team identified. Rubric strength, the candidate used figures to support best practices within the literature review. The candidate fully developed reasons why the research best practices were chosen. Rubric weakness, everything was identified within your paper. And leadership, the candidate led the professional learning community in reviewing the needs of the school and fostered collaboration through team discussion. And that was it.
Okay, so Simone, after reading the narrative, actually I didn't read the narrative. I always listen to it. I put on the audio on the computer and just listen to it. And it seemed like, I already told you that you write a strong paper, but it seems like it gets stronger and stronger. After reading the narrative, I found that the information and the research that it supported your directive, the PLC's directive, and its direction was sufficient in meeting the needs of the students and the teachers. She also presented graphic documentation to support the narrative. And in the language of the rubric, the area that identified the strength was found in her effectiveness and her collaboration and her focus on the most pressing needs of the school. Her literature review aligned with the needs that was identified in her paper. The language of the rubric, that was the strength. And the weakness, I didn't find any weakness in the paper. The paper that the research it identified, and it also supported the needs of the students. So I really didn't find any weakness. The leadership demonstrating, I know last time when we talked about leadership and, that was a weakness in that, but today, let me see, Simonia just demonstrated leadership as she described the importance of the academic needs to her team. And she also identified the resources that would meet the needs of the school. So I think that the more we are working on it, the stronger that we're getting. Is to me, this third one was easier than the other two, actually. But it's the fourth one that I'm working on. I think that's going to be it. And that doesn't seem as hard either, but it's a lot more that is requiring me to do.
Hey, Angela, I have a question. You sent me your task 3.
Right.
And I was supposed to review Faith's and Matt's.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I just wanted to make sure that you were aware that because I got it and I had to go back and look at the original email because Faith and Matt were my 2 people.
Okay. So Faith and Matt were your 2 people. Who's mine? I don't know.
I think Faith and Matt were also mine.
Oh, okay.
I noticed that last week 3 of us did Faith, or 3 people did Faiths, I think.
Okay.
Or no, I'm sorry, 3 people did Simanja. 1 person did Faiths last week. So.
Okay, so let me tell me this. 3 people.
Simanja, I've done yours for all 3 weeks, right? Okay.
Right.
Make sure.
And Faith, you have as well, right?
Yes, I've done the ones all 3 weeks too.
Man, I done read I think this is probably normal for me. This is normal for me. So what I'm gonna do? Who didn't get but 1? Who didn't get but 1? So I can do that.
Faith, you only got 1 last week, right?
Keisha did mine last week, and Simone did mine last week as well. So I had two.
So you're missing one this week, right?
Keisha did mine this week, and I'm not sure who else was supposed
That was
to.
supposed to be me. There you go. All right. So I'm gonna get yours to you. Thank you so much. I mean, I gotta slow down. No, I don't know. Look, Matt, we already talked. So
We're almost there.
we're almost there. Well, for this semester. So I'll send yours to you tonight. Once we're done, I'll send yours to you tonight. But please forgive me because I'm like, I don't know why Samanja is in my head. I don't know why you in my head, girl.
And you sent me yours, and I was like, oh, am I supposed to do Angela's?
Yeah, I must have supposed to send mine to Faith, but I think what's really, and I'll be perfectly honest with you guys, I think the Friday kind of got me off guard because I was used to Friday, and I think that's kind of throwing me off. But a lot of things are throwing me off, so y'all please pray for me and forgive me.
Me too.
The paper itself, like, is not hard to me, but the process of just making sure everybody's getting everything. I'm gonna be honest with you. I thought I was finished with the peer review for 3, everything. I thought I was completely done. After he sent me and said move on to 4, I was like, oh well, I'm done then. And I hadn't sent the right people the right stuff, and I let it go. 3, I'm done. I'm working on 4. I was like, after I got the message from Dr. Stedman, I was like, oh, okay. And in my mind, I'm thinking everything is finished, and I contacted the right people. But I'll send that, and we don't have any more peer reviews, right?
Yeah, so we can stop recording.
Okay.
Are we clear on who we're peer reviewing for the next time, or?
So it's Faith, when you say next time, are you talking about for the case studies? Is that what the next thing is?
Yeah, I made change for that.
Are we doing task 4?